So, Deanne, you're very multilingual. What
Yes.
what languages do you speak?
I speak Spanish, Italian, French, and English fluently.
Wow, all of them.
Yes.
Is there any language that you prefer?
Yes. French and Spanish are my favorite languages.
Oh, why is that?
French I like because it's very soft and romantic, and Spanish I like because it's very vivacious and dynamic
Uh-huh.
and energetic. And those two are my favorite languages. I also like the pronunciation of Spanish.
Mm. Okay, and how did you become so proficient? Like, how did you learn to speak Spanish and French
Well,
so
my
well?
mother is Spanish, and so I grew up listening to her speak. Usually, when she didn't want my father to hear what she was saying, she spoke in Spanish, so I
Right.
understood everything she said. I never spoke it at that point, but I understood. And I grew up with the ear. And French, I grew up in a French province in Canada, Quebec, so we always had French in our from when I was born. I had French, and English. My dad's Anglophone, and then Italian. I learned in university.
Wow, that's impressive. So now we're in Japan. Actually, maybe people might be able to hear the little Japanese in the background. Do you study Japanese now?
I'm starting because last time I was in Japan, I didn't know anything and it was difficult to get by. This time I said, okay, I have to. So I'm just beginning actually.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, and since I mean you are an expert at learning languages, what advice would you give to somebody to learn another language?
Mm, Not everybody has the knack for it, but if you do want to learn it, um, you need discipline and you need time and it's studying. You have to memorize a whole bunch of vocabulary and you have to dedicate about an hour and a half every day to doing homework. And I would do lots of internet, like try to find people on the internet. That I did that with Netscape. Chatting. I used to find people who spoke other languages, like for example Italian or Spanish, and I would be chatting with them orally and written, and I would learn a lot of new things by doing that because they'd each have a different expression that I didn't know, and find international friends and do international exchanges, like cultural exchanges with people, so that you're forced to speak the language and then you don't speak your own. That's what I did.
Mm.
Yeah.
For the net stuff though, don't you worry a little bit about security, about kind of not the nicest people on the internet?
Yeah, there's a lot of weirdos, but you don't meet them. I never met them. I just stayed on the internet with them and we chatted and usually I chat with girls
Mm.
because you don't know what kind of people you'll meet. And if they said, let's meet, I just said no because I don't really trust that. If I want to meet people, I join those intercultural exchanges where people are actually, monitored. So,
Right.
yeah.